Okay, so DeepSeek raised prices, and if you've been anywhere near the community, you've seen it. Everybody's screaming cash grab. They're milking us, the classic move. But here's the thing, I'm not defending them. I got hit by these too. DeepSeek V4 Flash is my main model. If this price hike doubles my bill, and looking at my usage, it totally will. I'm looking at an extra like 50, 60 bucks a month. It may be no money to you, but it's real money to me. So when I saw the announcement, my first instinct was to switch right now, find something else. But then I actually sat down and looked at my data, like really looked into it, but tell my AI to really look into it. And I found three things that completely flipped my understanding of what's going on. So first, why did they actually raise prices? It isn't a cash grab. I mean, you can't grab cash by raising prices when you're already the cheapest in town. And DeepSeek V4 Flash is the cheapest model at its quality level by a mile. They're basically bleeding money. Okay, so there's this thing economists call the Jevons paradox. I don't know why I pronounce it like Jevons. Feels like that way to me, so bear with me. Back in 1865, a guy named William Stanley Jevons published a book called The Coal Question. And he noticed something that broke everyone's intuition. Steam engines were getting more efficient, using less coal to do the same work. You'd think, great, coal consumption goes down, right? It went up, way up, because cheaper steam power meant more factories, more trains, more everything. The efficiency gain did not reduce coal use, it exploded. That's the Jevons paradox. The cheaper and better something gets, the more people use it. And the total resource consumption, the total cost, goes through the roof. Now look at DeepSeek V4s. It's been the most code models globally for 6 weeks straight. 1 week it grew 66%. 66% in a single week. They literally don't have enough compute. And what's driving all of this isn't regular chat. An agent task costs tools. Loops cost tools again. It's 10 to 50 times more expensive than a normal conversation. And I know this because I'm the problem. Everything I do runs on Hermes agent. I burn through 300 to 500 million tokens a day, like easily. So the situation is DeepSeek isn't choosing to raise prices. They're being forced to. And look, I'm not making excuses. If they don't raise prices, then nobody gets to use it. So what's the alternative? All right, so we know why. Now let's talk about what this actually means for you, or for me. I'll just show you my actual numbers. Based on my last 2 weeks, I'm spending about 300 RMB a month right now, which is roughly $42. And since I am basically in the peak usage tier, after the hike, it's going to double. But here's where it gets interesting. First, counterintuitive thing. We all think the AI is talking, so that's where the money goes. Output is expensive. The model is generating text. It's thinking, it's burning tokens. Nope. Here's my actual breakdown. Cash input, about 40% of the cost. Uncashed input, another 40%. And the output is less than 20%, all combined. So all that talking, the thing model actually does, that's the cheap part. The expensive part is just reading your context. And it gets weirder, way weirder. Look at this. Cash input, 97.5% of all tokens consumed, but it only costs 40% of the money. Meanwhile, uncashed input and output together, 2.5% of the tokens, 60% of the bill. So if you aren't using a cache optimized agent, you're basically lighting money on fire. Every uncached context reload costs you 20 times what it should. This is where the agent you use really matters. I was using a Hermes agent for everything. I love it. It's my daily driver. But for local dev work, I tried the desktop version, and it is a bit too aggressive. It brute forces problems. The cache hit rate is fine, but the personality, I couldn't deal with it. So I switched to Reasonix, which is specifically optimized for DeepSeek V4's cache mechanism. The difference in cache hit rates is not that huge. We're talking a few percent. But at my scale, a few percent is real money. Second counterintuitive thing, local versus API. I've got a 4090 at home. It runs qwen 3.627B. Before DeepSeek V4 came out, local was cheaper. Then V4 launched and it was so cheap that the API beat local. Now with the price hike, local is slightly cheaper again. Well, of course, this all depends on your time zone and location, your electricity price. I'm talking about me living in this price hike time zone in Japan. But, and this is a big but, the quality isn't the same. qwen 3.627B on a single 4090 is usable. I'd even say it's impressive for what it is. The context window is only about 100K, and the speed is also much slower. The quality output is fine, but it isn't V4 Flash. And here's the part nobody talks about when they say just run it locally. Europeans know what I'm saying here. This card runs at 300 watts. The fan is maxed out, and there's this coil whine, this high-pitched buzz, and then the fan kicks in on top of that. My office, my studio, I walk in here without even running anything, and it feels like someone turned the heating on. And if you run a model, it's a space heater with the graphics card attached. So yeah, you save maybe a few bucks, but you're sitting in a sauna with the jet engine next to you. Comfort matters. Before you experience it, you think, whatever, I'll deal with it. I thought that way too. After a week, you're like, okay, give me the API back. I don't care what it costs. And the third thing, I found some alternatives I haven't tried yet. For example, Xiaomi's model MIMO 2.5. It's priced right where DeepSeek was before the hike. I've no idea how good it is. If someone has tried it, let me know. I'm genuinely curious. Is it good enough for like this whole agent thing? Well, I might just try it myself. Then here is a codex, 20 bucks a month for the basic plan. Actually, that might be the play for me. Here's why. With DeepSeek API, I have no governor. I burn through tokens like there's no tomorrow. 500 million tokens a day. It is cheaper per token compared to GPTs or Gemini, and way cheaper than Claude. But remember that Jevons paradox we said at the beginning? The cheaper it gets, the more you use. And the result is, my bill on DeepSeek is way more than a codex coding plan. My API usage is $40, $50 a month, and will be like 80, 100 bucks after the hike. But codex coding plan, it's only 20 bucks. That's it. Of course, you get way less usage, and there's a 5-hour hard cap. Back in the time while I was using codex, it was super stressful with that limit. I feel like kidnapped. But now, look back at it, I started to think it might be a good idea. And I don't sell software for a living. There's no point to rush. The problem is Codex doesn't work with my agent setup. But that was never the case. It's just too expensive for an agent. I'd go broke instantly. So it's only viable as a coding tool. So that's where I'm at. What about you? You switching models, going locals, or just eating the cost? Because here's the thing, even after the hike, DeepSeek is still the cheapest option at its quality level. Everything that's cheaper, I haven't found one that's actually usable. So let me know what you're doing. I'm genuinely curious. If you got something out of this, leave a like and don't forget to subscribe. If not, watch another one. See you next time.